All right, and Google says we are live. So after the first failed attempt at making Google Hangouts work, we've got the second one. So we'll see if anybody watches it, because I had to update the links. But I am Sam. We are playing some ostensibly Edge of the Empire, but for Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars, set in my Hutt Space Encounters kind of genre. And I have three great players here. They're all familiar with the setting and the system, so we will be jumping right in here. This one shot is titled Ghost of the Darklands, and it is set on the smuggler's moon of Nar Shaddaa. So the three heroes had to put down their ship on Nar Shaddaa for emergency repairs, and they discovered that the extent of the damage and the nature of Nar Shaddaa, they didn't have enough credits to fully repair their ship, so they had to take on some work. And they found some work with a, kind of low, mid-level death stick dealer for Black Sun, as they were hanging out in the slag pit one day, kind of, getting drinks, maybe checking out the crowd and doing their best to hide from the Empire, which doesn't have a huge influence in Nar Shaddaa, but has enough that, they're trying to keep it a little bit low profile here. And they hear rumors of a masked vigilante causing all kinds of trouble for the gun runners and drug runners down in the Darklands, the deep undercity of Nar Shaddaa, where there's no power left and where the denizens live this just wretched, miserable life. And they've been asked to go down and investigate, see if the rumors are true, and if they are, to take care of this vigilante that's become known as the Ghost. And so our characters find themselves at a repulsor lift, ready to descend down into the dark underbelly of Nar Shaddaa, having been warned that it's probably not a good idea to take a speeder down there, as it'll likely either get stolen, be the target of an attack, or get damaged in in all the smog and pollution and the difficulties down there. And so as you guys are descending on this repulsor lift, and as everyone knows in Star Wars, there are no railings anywhere. So you're just standing on this platform, basically just, descending down into the city. The chrome and neon lights and the air speeders just flying by are, creating this cacophony in your mind. And Neo, this might be affecting you more so than others, as it's extremely difficult to focus and concentrate and really feel the force through this cacophony. But as you're descending, as the chrome starts to fade and the neon starts to fade, and even the traffic seems to lighten up a little bit as you're going deeper and deeper into the underbelly of the city, past the valve works and just rapidly descending. You start to feel this ominous presence, this sense of great turmoil, of anger and fear and death and destruction. But it's different than you would have sensed, than you would have felt in the upper city. And as you're descending, this is weighing heavily on your mind. And we're going to cut to sort of a cutscene for a moment. The camera would kind of be all shaky and jerky, trying to follow this form, this shadow, this blur. You can see movement across this dark, dusky landscape as this pollution is just clouded in everywhere. You can hear and the heartbeat thumping in your, in your chest. Although it's not you, but you're almost witnessing it through the eyes of this person. And you see this great leap. And for a minute you feel this tinge of fear, and then this elation as you make this just enormous jump, and you feel your feet land on the top of a building. Below you, you can see a speeder bike slowly moving along an alley. No lights are anywhere except for on this speeder bike, as you're in an area, in this great urban sprawl, but there's no electricity, there's no power. And all of a sudden, the camera kind of pans away rapidly, jerky, like, if you were witnessing this, you might get, motion sick. And you see the speeder kind of going across the alley, here down across a street, and you see these forms kind of ahead in the distance. You can't quite make out whether they're humans or aliens or what, but they're running. And this speeder is kind of, pursuing after them at a slow speed. And you see the driver, pull on the triggers, and a couple of these guys go down. And then you see a few of them scatter into a building, and he brings the speeder bike to a halt, and he starts to get off, and he pulls this great big rifle out. And just as this happens, it cuts back to this, whoever, eyes you were looking through before. And all of a sudden, he's right in front of, or right behind this figure. The figure turns around, and before he can even put up his blaster, it's knocked out of his hands. And then there's this great flash of light and pain and blood and death. And you can just feel this anger, seething hatred for this being, this armed figure that was gunning down the people of this, of this area. And you feel this sense of loss, the sense of betrayal, as well as, that what just happened, it shouldn't have happened, and yet it did. And you can feel these conflicting emotions. And the last thing that you would see in this sort of cutscene is the camera starts panning out, and you see this figure just with, a hood up, mask covering their face, just walking off into the distance. And then just as the sort of foggy pollution engulfs this figure, you see them rapidly ascend up into the air, as if they jumped, and land on the roof of a nearby building. And then the scene comes back, and it's you guys standing again on the repulsor lift as it's slowly making its descent down. And at this point, you have made it into the very upper reaches of the Darklands. And the Darklands are notorious, right? This is a dangerous place to be for anybody. And as the lights have gone out, you guys quickly realize that you have a few seconds before you'll be plunged into total darkness. So if you have lights and you wish to turn them on, I would highly recommend it at this point. But if you want, why don't you go ahead and describe kind of what you're seeing and what you're feeling. And Neo and Jin, you guys, that cutscene that I would have, that I described, you wouldn't have necessarily seen that, but the emotions that were portrayed in that, you would have felt some form of those emotions. So if you want to kind of describe what you guys are doing at the moment, how you're feeling, that would be great.
I think Jin would, after feeling these emotions through the Force, would probably just look at Neo without saying anything and just maybe like give him a nod. They would probably look at each other, You know, as this was all going down, they could feel something's going on down here. And when they hit the bottom there, Jin would turn on his scanner goggles just to make sure he could see into the dark. And when they get down there, he would start scanning like alleys or, you know, trying to look for anything moving, any people or.
Definitely. Yeah, and so as you're kind of illuminated, at least your little portion of the the repulsor left, you don't immediately see anything. Are you kind of reaching out with the force trying to sense, or are you mostly using your physical senses?
No, just physical senses. Jin, he kind of doesn't like to use the force.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Sure.
a force user, you know, but he doesn't like to use it. Only when he has to.
So the way I'm kind of envisioning this at this point, you got the two force users that are on like the back of the platform, and the Gamorrean's kind of up front, like not afraid of the heights as we went down. And as they get like the foreboding look on their face and look at each other, the Gamorrean's like just talking in Gamorreese or whatever it's called, and just telling them a story about like the last time he was in the Darklands, and doesn't seem to be affected by the emotions of the situation at all. And then doesn't notice the bad look between them because he doesn't have that good perception.
Yeah, for his part, Neo, as they begin their descent, his hood is up, his gaze down, his hands clasped behind his back, as he begins to experience the emotions of this place they were going. He slows his breathing, finding his calm center. And then as the onslaught of these emotions of that cutscene begin to pass over him, he momentarily loses control. He throws his hood up and steps forward, inhaling deeply, the mix of fear, anger, and rage briefly playing over his dark red features before he comes to his senses and stops just in front of the closed door of the elevator. It's descending. He'll take a long, slow breath and glance to the other two. His eyes, of course, meeting Jin's. And he'll slowly reach up and pull his hood back down and step back and state the obvious. This place is full of more than one kind of danger.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. And to sort of punctuate those words, Jin, I'll have you make a perception check for me. And this one is going to be exceptionally difficult because, as you can imagine, you have a little bit of light from maybe your glow rod or whatever on the platform, but everything around you is just dark. And not to mention, it's not just dark because there's no power. There's also that smog and pollution and everything kind of obscuring. So if you're looking physically or listening or whatever, make a perception roll for me. But you're gonna have it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be 3 purple and 1 red.
Good thing I'm not good at it.
Yep.
Now I have scanner goggles too, so
And
they basically so I can see in the dark.
Okay. All right, that's fine. There was normally 2 setback on this as well, but what I'll say is if you're using the scanner goggles, we'll just negate that.
Okay.
So you can see. So that's good.
No chance.
All right. So would anybody else be kind of looking, sort of whether it's reaching out with the force or just, actively looking as well, or are you guys just kind of in your own?
I'd be looking, but there's no way I can make that.
Okay.
Yeah, Neo, after he draws the hood back down over his features, he would close his eyes and reach out to the force using his sense to see, reach out for the familiar touch of other living beings in the area.
Okay, definitely. And remind me, mechanically, do you need to actually roll for that, or is that there's just one of the abilities that you have from the sense tower?
Yeah, I think I got to roll my force dice, and then if I get I can spend it to.
I usually, as a GM, will say that like you sense something, but like
Yep.
the successes on it give you detail and
that's what I'm looking
sense.
for, definitely. Yeah. All right, so go ahead and roll those for me. I should say the force dice.
Yeah, dark side.
All right. Do you want to draw on the dark side?
Costs 2 strain and flipping a.
No. Given what he's already experienced and felt here, he would not want to step into that.
So as you kind of reach out with the force, you can definitely sense your companions, right? And you can sense the, Brosk, the Gamorrean, just kind of doing his thing. He's like, whatever, I live a horrible life every single day. This isn't any particular, kind of scary for me. And Jin may be a little bit on edge, but is more focused on just trying to survey his surroundings. And so, but that's about it. Everything else you're getting is just that same kind of fear and desperation and anger just permeating this whole area. And you miss, up until they're right upon you, the sound of this, basically, small ion engine as an air speeder kind of comes up right next, above you guys, above the platform, but it's kind of, its speed is mirroring yours. And you see 4 figures start to descend out of this speeder on what look like wires or something like that. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and roll me some vigilance checks, because we are in initiative.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Damn. Dennis, you get a blank? That's no good.
4 successes, 2 successes, and no successes.
Yep. All right, so we've got Jin, you are first. Well, I should say we have 2 PCs. I'm sorry, we have 2 PCs, and then we have the NPCs, and then the last PC goes. So 2 of you can act first.
Okay. And how many guys are we seeing descending from the vehicle?
Right now, you have 4.
Okay. And what do they appear to be armed with?
Hard to tell, but it does appear that they have some sort of large firearm in their hands.
They look human or alien or...
Definitely humanoid. You can't necessarily make out their defined features, but you can definitely see from your glow rod a little bit, like the glint of metal and chrome and whatever. So,
okay.
All right. Well, I think unless you guys got something better, upon seeing this Jin, these 4 guys jump out of the ship there, Jin would automatically react and whip out his blaster carbine and take aim at the ship to try to like jostle them off these ropes that they're coming down.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, you want to kind of shoot at the ship and see if you can. That's fine. Definitely.
How far away is?
Yeah, so it's going to be long range. And I mean, You could definitely shoot at the ship, but if you want to try to, I don't know, like try to hit the pilot or damage, the engine, something like that, that's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I only have
Have your
medium
goggles
range.
on, so I won't set any setback. So it'll just be.
Well, I only have medium range on my blaster carbine.
Ah, okay. Yeah, they're at long range at this point.
Still
Now
long range.
the guys that are descending, they would be at medium range because they appear to be coming down on you, but the actual speeder itself would be at long range.
You know what? I'm still going to take a shot. I can still do it, right? It's just an extra. What is it? You go one band.
No, weapons
Can't.
you can't.
Can't
There's
do it right at all.
no. There's a couple of talent trees. I think sharpshooter gets a talent, and assassin that
The two
lets them
extra.
go beyond what the weapon normally can. But that's when the blaster bolt dissipates normally.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess I'll aim at one of these guys, whichever. They're all holding on to this weapon, or
Well, yeah. So like they appear to be sort of descending on some sort of cable, and each one of them has some sort of weapon, a larger firearm in their hand.
are they aiming it at us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'll aim at one of these guys then.
All right. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead. It's going to just be 2 purple because they are at medium range. I am going to set 1 setback though because of you're obviously moving and they're kind of slightly obscured. So yeah, go ahead and take a shot. All right. So as you fire with your blaster, and you see basically, I mean, just with the sort of movement of them, and they're kind of, even though they're coming down on the ropes, they're still kind of swaying a little bit. Your shot definitely goes wide, and you're starting to think, oh my gosh, these guys are coming down. We haven't even gotten down to the lower levels, and we're already getting attacked. And I'm going to go ahead and impose 1 strain on you for this. This is definitely weighing on your mind. All right. And did you want to take any kind of maneuver or anything like that?
We're kind of on a platform here, so I don't know how much of a maneuver it could get.
Yeah.
If you don't have quick draw, then drawing your weapon was your maneuver.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's true.
So
I was assuming you guys had them out, but maybe not. Yeah.
no,
Always have your weapon drawn in Narshita.
Well, then even if you weren't going to get a fight, you're going to get a fight.
Yep.
All right. Who? Neo, do you want to go? Do you have a ranged weapon or no?
I would say it would make sense for you to go ahead and go.
Okay. My action then, I'm going to, for my maneuver, draw my shield in my offhand. And then I'm going to assume the aim maneuver for I'm going to sacrifice my action for the aim maneuver. Okay. Basically, I'm taking aim at whichever one of these guys looks like he's going to come in closest first.
Okay.
So.
And what weapon are you carrying?
I've got a big old massive gauntlet.
Okay. Nice. So you're going to
think like Hellboy gauntlet.
Sweet.
The gauntlet itself has cumbersome 1.
Yep, of course. Where did you acquire this gauntlet? Like what were you just like an enforcer for the Hutts? Like,
he's tinkered it himself over the years. That's why I went with the technician. Like he's actually been making it, and it actually has like wiring coming off of it to energy cell on his back and everything because it's got the concussive property. So.
Oh, perfect. All righty. Cool. So that's great. All right. So yeah, and so as these guys are coming down on the on the cables, and you see the Gamorrean kind of maybe duck into a sort of defensive stance behind his shield, and he's got his gauntleted fist like ready to just punch whatever gets in near him. And you see the blaster bolt from Jin, ineffective as it lances through that smog, disappears into the darkness, and they come down at just about a medium range from you, and then they stop, and you see almost in unison their rifles start pointing, and then just this eruption of blaster fire. So they are going to take a shot. There are 4 of them, so let's see. Well, Jen, since you shot first, you get to be the target. Oh, holy shit.
Oh, man. That's a bad start.
Yeah. Okay. What do they got for a crit range? I don't think it's 2. That would just be terrible. Oh, brutal. Oh, holy shit, it is. All right.
Yeah.
Do I want to use the triumph? All right. So, yeah, you're going to get hurt here. 10, 11,
I'd
12.
say
So 13 base damage because they've got a big, heavy blaster rifle. And then I'm going to say that I'm going to use the advantage, the 2 advantage to say that, you know what, I'm just going to impose a boost on the next person's check because you're definitely injured at this point. I'm going to save the triumph for right now. So with that damage, are you you still up and conscious?
I am still up
All right.
by 2. Good
Oh,
thing
wow.
I took the toughened skill.
For sure. And did anybody think to bring stim packs or anything?
I
Yeah,
bought
got
one.
2.
Good. All right.
I
got
got a
you.
couple.
Excellent. I wanted to make sure. Next one's going to fire. This one is going to fire at the Gamorrean and see what's up. Now, do I need to set any setback for your shield or?
For range, it's 3 setbacks.
Oh, wow. Shit.
Now,
All right.
so these are rivals, not minions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
With that kind of dice, yeah, we're screwed.
Yep.
If they've got 3 skill and 4 agility, then we're just. I mean.
Oh, whoops. Ignore the 24, but ooh. All right. Yep. So he connects as well. Wow, that 3 setback didn't do a whole lot, did it?
No.
No.
Not against 3 yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All right. So 10, 11, 12, and I'm going to say that he's going to crit on you. So don't actually ignore that. You are off balance. So the barrage of blaster fire, Brosk, just kind of knocks you off balance a little bit. So your next skill check is going to have 1 setback.
Okay.
And then one of the other ones, you actually see kind of as you're like, as you peek around the shield after the barrage of blaster fire is done, and you're like, you kind of peek up over it, and you see this guy just kind of fall right onto the platform in front of you. He kind of disconnected from his cable. And with that, you also see the other guy kind of standing up there. And Neo, he's not standing up there, but descending. Neo, he's going to take a shot at you as well.
Okay, I do have 1 range defense.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, damn, I keep adding that stupid percentile. All right, 1, 2, 3, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 damage from his blaster.
Yeah, we are screwed.
I forgot my soak and range defense.
Oh, did you have range defense?
Yeah, 12. And then soak would count too from.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Soak definitely counts. Yeah.
Range defense. Did you say 12?
No,
No, 1.
one,
Oh, I
yeah.
was about to say. I don't think you can get that high.
Yeah. Oh, I totally could have activated their auto fire too. No, I'm not gonna be that mean. Okay. Neo, despite all of what's happening, you sense a couple of things. The Force is definitely with you right now, and you sense that you're almost near the bottom, right? Like you guys are probably a couple of rounds away from getting to the bottom and the alleyway where you need to be. But you also sense, and it's kind of far off, but you sense more presence coming in up above you. So you feel like it's, these guys are going to probably have reinforcements here rather soon. And so mechanically, that's what I'm using the Triumph for. So the other guy having jumped down, you got one guy on the platform now and 3 still up in the air. And we are back up to actually we're at you, or sorry, Neo, we're in your spot now, presuming you want to go instead of one of the others.
Definitely. So the first thing I want to do is commit my Force die for basically as this all kicked off, I had my eyes closed, reaching out with the Force and that's when I, sensed these. And with my eyes remaining closed, I'm using the Force and I'm committing my Force dice, and I'm activating the control upgrade, and it'll allow me to upgrade the difficulty of their attacks twice.
Okay.
And I can use that twice in a round.
Nice.
Oh, shit. All right.
And now, does it take my action to commit my Force dice, or can I still act?
No, it does not require an action.
Okay, so then, yeah, I'm going to try to introduce this guy to my lightsaber.
Awesome. Okay. So, what color is your lightsaber, by the way?
It is white.
White. All right.
Yep.
Interesting. So that's definitely a special lightsaber. As you ignite the lightsaber, you immediately see. You can feel the fear coming from this guy, and as he's on the platform, you can see just this mechanical mix of flesh and machine. These are definitely cybernetically enhanced people. Being on Nar Shaddaa, you probably would have heard of the Gank, and so you can assume that these are probably Gank, hunters or gang members or something. The fact that they heard about or knew where you were is a little bit disturbing, but he hesitates, and you can sense a lot of fear coming from him as he sees this lightsaber.
Okay, so what would be the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be 2. I'm going to give you a boost though, because he's definitely fearful and he's hesitating.
Okay, and also I have duelist training, which also will give me another boost. Okay. I'm only engaged with one person at the moment.
I thought they came down together, so there's
only one. Only one came down. Yeah.
The rest are still up in medium range.
Yeah, 4 guys that descended, but 1 guy actually dropped onto the platform.
Oh. Well,
which I would actually prefer if they were all down, but that's not the way that it happened.
I know you would.
If I had realized that there was one on the platform, my action would have been different, but oh well.
Well, he actually didn't come down till after your turn.
Yeah.
They didn't go till after you two went, but yeah.
Well, if you don't kill him, he's going to wish he was dead, so whatever.
Oh, yeah, let's hope. So, yeah, I think that's good. So, that's going to be, 8 damage, and I can crit him twice. I also have Breach and Sunder.
Yep. All right. So, you said 8 base damage. All right. Yeah, go ahead and roll the crit.
With the plus 10 for the second crit.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a 38, right? All right, so... Yeah, all right, cool. So you don't kill him, but you definitely, I mean, he is definitely injured. Why don't you go ahead and describe kind of what it looks like, but taking into account the fact that he's somehow managed to being just, obliterated by your lightsaber.
Yeah, so basically, as I described, his eyes were closed, his head tilted upward, and then as this he takes this heavy blaster fire, he's knocked back into the corner. But as this other figure jumps down with a grunt of pain, he straightens himself, ignites his saber, and he kind of does this with the blade, and then basically sinks it into his gut as he steps into him. And basically, for my maneuver, I'm going to try to keep him interposed between me and as many of the other guys as I can. Though I understand with them being higher up, it might not be any good, but I want to stay, close and engaged with him in hopes that it makes it harder for them to shoot me.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, as you do that, he actually starts to, he's trying to back away. Like he's kind of staying in a defensive stance, but he's starting to back up. And you can see actually there's like a moment of hesitation when he looks up, like hoping, oh my God, my companions, I hope you're going to save me. Right. And so we are at the top of the initiative order again. So there is another PC action. So you guys can decide how you want to handle that.
Basically, did they rappel down, or is it like that synth rope stuff, or?
So yeah, so basically, like, to set the scene again, like if you were looking directly up, you would see the sort of the repulsor lift engines of the speeder way up there, right? And then at this point, you see 4 ropes hanging down, or synth rope or whatever, and 3 guys are still dangling there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, almost picture it as like, if somebody like rappels out of a helicopter,
right?
But they're like shooting at you from the air, essentially, okay. And then the one guy's on the platform being like, "What did I do?"
Basically, then what I'm going to do is the guy on the platform. He looks significantly injured, like the Jedi is, or the lightsaber wielder's dealing with him.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely injured.
Sorry, just real quick, too. I forgot for that Sunder. I don't know if I could apply that to his weapon. I don't know if that would have damaged it enough to make it non-functional, but...
Does Sunder
you don't have
requires...
enough
yeah, what is it, 2?
It only takes 1.
Oh, it only takes 1?
Oh, you have 1 left, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
all right.
So that...
Yeah.
That takes it from...
yeah, like from a perfect state.
None to minor.
Yeah.
Which, if I remember right, means it's got a setback to everything, basically.
Yeah, it does, definitely. Absolutely.
I'm going to assume that the lightsaber wielder can deal with that guy then. The rope he just came down,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to grab the end of it and...
So the rope isn't like necessarily within range. He was up above and he dropped onto the platform. So you could try, but you'd have to jump.
Okay, well,
it'd be pretty difficult to climb up on that rope.
I got a plan if you guys don't have anything.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I don't have a ranged weapon, so
yeah. Well, I'm going to use my influence. I got an extra magnitude to try to convince 2 of the guys up on the platform that we're not their enemies. Their enemies are actually the reinforcements coming.
Okay. So that's going to be pretty hard. One, because they're a little bit, at range. And
well, I got an extra range too on
yep.
force powers.
Yep.
Yeah, but you may not be able to roll enough to get magnitude and range going on the same roll right now.
Yeah, we can go ahead and roll it, but you're going to have to roll against me take a look.
It's a discipline versus discipline check.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you're gonna have to roll against. They're not trained, so just difficulty 2. But I'm gonna impose one setback on that as well because they're expecting help reinforcements, so it'll be a little more difficult.
Okay.
And Josh, if he rolls the force dice, does that basically just add? He can use it to add
so
successes.
you roll your
effectively?
discipline plus force rating versus their
1
discipline.
force rating.
Yeah. So on the force die, which you rolled 1 dark side, which means you can affect 1 target at short range, I think it is.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only short range with 1 pip.
Oh man,
the ranged upgrade would make
canceled
it
out.
medium.
The range would make it medium.
Yeah, and you would
No, you have to spend an extra pip to get the medium range. It's not like a permanent upgrade. It lets you spend extra pips to get range, and the same with magnitude. That's why I was saying
So
okay. On 1 die you can only get 2 pips, so you can get the basic power, which is base activation for 1, and then you can get a magnitude or a ranged upgrade for 1.
For 1.
Yeah. So with the force rating you have, you can't do both on the same roll. But on back-to-back rolls, you could go for 1 guy further away, and then his 2 allies that are closer on the next roll.
Or if you rolled a couple of force points, you could get one or the other. But yeah.
Yeah, if you had rolled pips, and not to mention you rolled a dark side pip, so you would have to decide whether you wanted to draw on the dark side of the force.
But if they're at medium range, aren't they? So they're out of range anyway.
They would be, yeah.
And his
unless
discipline check didn't get anything, so he didn't convince them of.
Yeah, so
anything
it wouldn't
unique
do
either.
anything anyways. So.
Yep.
So that doesn't take an action though.
That's an action, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Whenever
It does. Any dice
you
pool.
have to roll the dice, that would be an action.
That's an action.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can still maneuver if you need to, but
For my maneuver, we're still going down, right?
Yep.
And these guys are coming down still with us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kind of jump, not from the platform, but kind of grab onto the shaft that we're coming down, so that I'm kind of stopped from going down. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not on the platform anymore. So I'm kind of staying still, and they're coming down towards me, so I can get more on their level.
So this isn't there's not a shaft that you're descending. This is like a repulsor. So you're literally just on a platform. There would be. It's kind of connected to the side of a building, sort of, but it's not like you're on a mechanical thing that's going down with a pole in the middle. You're just on a straight up.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking more of in the shaft. Okay.
So we're on a repulsor pad that is kind of attached to the side of the building. So it's
sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep,
this is a Star Wars glass elevator on steroids, guys.
Exactly.
How far are we up from the bottom level? You said we're getting close, right?
Yeah, you are. So mechanically, next round you will be there. You're probably it's hard to gauge the distance. If you were to jump, it's gonna hurt. I'll put it that way.
For your maneuver, you should probably take guarded stance so you get an extra defensive die.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just go into a stance.
Yep. Or you could activate. You could use one of your stim packs if you need to.
Actually, the way they're hitting, I just might. Yeah. I'll stab myself with a stim pack.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. 5 wounds. Cool. All right. So next up.
Neil, you want to go and finish the guy off on the platform, or if you don't, I am. That's really all there is for us to do, being melee users. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it a shot.
All right. So just standard 2 difficulty, but I'm going to give you a boost because he is definitely frightened.
Nice. So that's another 8, another 2 crits, and another Sunder.
Yeah, so I'll tell you that your damage alone isn't, because you have Breach, is enough to kill him. So if that's your intention, you can certainly kill him
Okay.
with just the damage.
Okay, then yeah, I might as well. Yeah, I'll do that, and I won't Sunder the weapon either. I don't know if anybody else has the ability to use it or not, but it might come in handy. So yeah, so basically, I will. As I said, we were kind of locked together. My lightsaber stabbed through him, and as he was backing up, I was stepping forward. And so suddenly I step back and spin around and basically carve him right in half.
Okay.
Do you have a use in mind for the advantages? If not, I'd like to suggest something.
I didn't have anything specific.
Okay, so what I was going to suggest is, especially since you did the step back turn and sunder him and send him flying, rather than just knocking him off the platform, send him flying up into the air, like with a thematic force shove, even though you may not have move, not mechanics, just like thematic type thing, and send him up flying towards his allies, because you can spend 2 advantages to give one of his allies a setback on their next roll. So you could give 2 different ones a setback as like parts of their buddy come flying up in their face and they are looking down at the Jedi, and then you can pass your next ally a boost die with the 5th one.
Yeah, I like that. Even if it's not like the whole half a body, but just like, spray
his
guts
stuff.
apart.
I mean, it comes flying their way or whatever.
Goo and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And so, you kind of, I'm almost gonna do it in a way where let's say it's all right. This is how I kind of envision it. You kind of cut him, slash him with the saber, and maybe like as you do that, you also give him a kick or something, and he kind of tumbles up into the air a little bit. And as he's falling off the side of the repulsor lift, he kind of like breaks in half, Darth Maul style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely unnerved his companions. You can actually see, one of them, and you can sense it. I mean, both of you guys who are who are Force users can sense it. Like, they're definitely afraid, and seeing their companion cleaved in half is definitely unnerving them. So, but they are trained killers, and so they are going to take a shot. So, oh, poor Neo. Since you just killed their companion, one of them is going to take a shot at you.
Remember, his attack gets 2 upgrades to difficulty.
Yeah, that's just your normal ability, right? And then he's also got the setback that you just imposed.
Yeah. I'll set back on him, and then whichever one of them goes next, basically.
Yep. Alrighty, cool. Okay.
That roll's not right. 2 upgrades of difficulty turns the 2 purples to 2 reds.
Oh, it's 2 upgrades?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Basically, I'm using my Force sense upgrade to where I can sense what they're getting ready to do, and I use that to my advantage to, dodge out of the way of their shots.
Ah, my bad. Okay, well then let's re-roll that. Whoa.
Nice.
So
all right.
Misses, but it gets a triumph and a despair.
Yep.
Nice.
And 3 threats. Okay.
If I have a say in any of the bad stuff, I would like maybe him to fall down to the platform or past the platform.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. All right. So what happens is, he definitely takes some shots at you, right? And what I'm going to say is you know it's coming. Like, you can feel it. And almost as if the Force is guiding your actions, your lightsaber just comes up and deflects one of his blaster bolts back. It pierces right through the synth steel cable that was holding him, and he goes and falls onto the platform. Now, not only that, but the way he falls in such a way that you can hear this crack as he falls, and he isn't dead, but he's paralyzed. He's broken his back, essentially. So he's lying there. But at this moment, you see 2 swoop bikes start coming in on either end. So presumably more gangsters, and you can feel hostile intent. with these guys. But you also know that you, at this point, you are probably about 10 or 20 feet, or whatever that is in meters, because we're playing Star Wars. From the base level of the Darklands.
All right. Then the other two dead guys.
Yeah, and so let's see. All right, the other two at this point, yeah. All right, one of them is going to take a shot at you, Brosk. What does your shield do again? It gets 2
range 3. So,
okay, so 3
so
setback.
3, and then the 4th setback that the Jedi imposed on the second one to attack. So.
Okay.
So 4 setback, and so 4 black, 2 purple, I believe.
Yep. Nice. Holy
Ouch.
shit. All right. So you get to take a nice 11 points of damage.
I soaked 7 of it.
Nice.
So 4 wounds.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a bastard. So as you kind of are, bringing your shield around, he actually manages to clip you right across the arm that's holding your shield, and you drop it. So it's still on the platform, but yeah, you temporarily dropped your shield as your hand, basically your arm, took the brunt of that blaster bolt.
Okay.
All right, and then let's see. We got one other guy, and he's going to take a shot at. I think at Neo again, because that dude's got a lightsaber and they're scared of him.
So he'd also get the 2 upgrades.
Yep. Okay. All right. So again, their weapons deal 10 base damage. So he deals 11. All right, and but he's stressed because now 2 of his companions are down. So, all right. So actually, what I'm gonna do. Next PC gets a boost on their action from that threat that he rolled.
Okay.
All right, and now we got the last PC slot.
Okay. The swoop bikes you said that are coming, are they close enough to do, like, how close are they?
Yeah, so these guys actually have come in like down low. Like they're coming in, you could probably engage them if you needed to. You'd have to jump, but you could do it.
Okay. I'm going to pick the one on the left. I'm going to grab my shield with my maneuver. I'm going to suffer 2 strain to get a second maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to jump off and just I'm not trying to necessarily be nice to him or anything. I'm trying to punch him in the face on the way to the ground, basically.
All right. So I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do this as an athletics roll, because you're kind of trying to jump at him. And
well, I mean, if they're below us, it's a brawl check. I mean, I'm punching him. The athletics would be coordination would be whether or not I hurt myself on my own landing.
Well, so that's fine. The way I was picturing it, they're not like right there. Like if you want to get to them, you're gonna have to like jump a little bit to get to them. But I mean, yeah, potentially that's fine. Actually, you know what? I'll say that's fine. If you want to go ahead and make a brawl check, yeah, just do that, and then we'll see kind of how that plays out.
All right, and the crit you gave me adds a setback.
Yep.
And then melee is normally 2 difficulty. Does their armor have melee defense?
It does not.
All right. And I have my aim maneuver from last round, and I've got the boost you just gave, and my weapon has an accurate, and it has accurate 3. So here we go. Really? Wow.
Oh man.
So I hit.
You do.
That's anticlimactic of a roll, considering the number of boosts and setbacks there. So I do 7 damage with Pierce 1.
Okay.
So effectively 8 unless he's just not got armor at all.
Nope, he definitely has armor. All right, so yeah, you basically just wham, whale him with that, with that big gauntlet, and he kind of staggers a little bit. But definitely you're like smashing into this like heavy battle armor. You can kind of feel this reverberation a little bit in your arm. As basically this steel hitting steel. So I'm gonna say that that's definitely like it had an effect on you. We'll say that one threat, you take 1 strain for that. We're now back at the top of the initiative order, and you guys immediately start to feel the repulsor lift slow down, and it's like literally, you've gotten down to the base, to like an alleyway, and you're basically surrounded, and like if you were to look up, you can still see the bright lights, right, of the of the engines of the repulsor engines on the speeder, right, and you can see the guys there, but like everything around you is just these high rises as high as you can see, except you can't see that far because there's all that smog and nastiness. But you can see below you, and you can see the sort of Duracrete street kind of sprawling out ahead of you, and just buildings everywhere. No power at all except for this repulsor. What are you guys gonna do?
So, is there any cover down here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there could potentially be cover all over the place, especially considering how dark and smoggy it is.
So, yeah, at this point, not wanting to see and duck, that's what I'm going to do is disembark from this thing and shoot for some cover for my maneuver, and then use an action to shoot myself with a stim pack.
Okay. And I presume you are deactivating your lightsaber? Or no?
Yeah, because otherwise that will kind of be like a beacon to, hey, this is where I'm at.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely. So you, so you do that. That's fine. You immediately find cover. Are you intending to hide, or literally just get behind some cover so that you have the time to hit yourself with a stim?
Yeah, basically to get cover, but if they can lose track of me for a minute, that would be to my advantage.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so you could do that. That's fine. And we'll say that takes your PC slot. So we got PC number 2. Who wants to go next?
As like now that we're on the ground and whatnot, are there any targets that are in melee range? If not, I'll defer to him, like that I can get to or whatever.
Well, I mean, so there was the guy that fell onto the platform and broke his back. He's not much of a threat, but he's not dead.
Yeah, not really worried. Well, and I'm off the platform already anyway. I'm not going to run back to punch the paralyzed guy. I mean,
right.
I'm a Gamorrean, not a monster. Jeez.
Yep.
Run by and field goal.
So you go ahead, since you have ranged capability.
Actually, for my force power influence, as I'm running off the platform past this guy, I'm gonna use just my basic influence to try to cause him strain some.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll take a strain or 2, whatever I roll here.
Okay.
So actually they're dark, but that means like he starts thinking dark.
So did you flavor yourself as a dark side force user? Or were you mostly a
For
light
your
side user?
morality choice, did you actually drop to the dark side or no?
No.
Okay.
No. So it would be like
So you would have to
have
choose
two
to
strain.
use those dark side pips, which would essentially draw on the dark side. You can do that, but you'll have to flip a destiny point. You'll take 2 strain.
you know what?
And
I think
you'll give him 2 strain with what you rolled. So
Mhm.
yeah. You know what? This guy isn't much of a threat, so no, I don't think I'll do it.
Okay. So instead, what would you like to do then?
So as I'm running past, actually I'll run for some cover, an alleyway or garbage can or garbage bin.
Yeah.
You know, I'll hide behind something, and
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot at one of the 2 guys that are still dangling up above us.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, so go ahead and take a shot. And it's just going
And
to be a
they're
standard
still
2
at medium
difficulty.
range.
Yeah, yep. Still at medium range. And they're pretty well illuminated. All right, nice.
So it's for 9 damage.
Okay. Is 9 the base, or is that with the 2 added on?
That's the base damage. So
Is 9? Okay, so then
Yeah.
11.
it's 11.
Nice. All right. Cool. Yeah, so you definitely and shoot at him, and you can see, kind of, you can tell that one of your bolts definitely, scored a hit. You can kind of hear the guy sort of up above there, but he's not dead. Now, but at this moment, you sense both the Force users and and even the Gamorrean is going to know something's up. You can sense like a lot of life forms down here, and it's very like weird sensation in your mind. Like they're not quite human. You're not quite sure what's going on, but from your cover, you manage to actually see these creatures just leaping out of the buildings and leaping onto or at the repulsor, at the speeder bikes and the speeder, right? And like just these weird looking mutated creatures, like probably 10 of them. And so you see basically one of the guys, like their cable snaps, right, and they fall to the ground. The other one starts, ascending back up, and you can see like the bikes like kind of scooting out of the way. But you also notice, so this threat is effectively neutralized. At least the ganks, they're leaving. They're like, what? Let's get out of here. And you can see blaster fire, and some of these mutated forms are, falling off the back of the thing. Maybe one falls down in front of you. But you guys can both, the Jedi can both, or the Force users, I should say, can both sense not only these creatures, but there are also a couple of, they seem to be humanoid presence down here, and they're very scared. And you can tell that they're a little ways down the alley, and you can hear like a chittering and and a screeching, and you can hear a couple of like, oh, no, sounds of fear coming from down that way. So the gank are effectively gone at this point. And these creatures that that are milling around, they don't seem to be directly interested in you yet, but there's probably 2 or 3 of them down in this alleyway.
And that's where the sounds of like the fear are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said one of these like fell in front of us.
Yeah.
Should we get a good look at it, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's this weird sort of let me see, bipedal carnivorous predator, big, powerful clawed hands and feet. This long tail and like thick leathery hide. Some of them are black. One looks maybe like a dark greenish color. Yeah, just really weird, ugly, vicious looking creatures.
Well,
Well, and of course you have one injured gank who's now being chewed on, and you've got the other guy who fell, but and is somewhat injured, but he's down there.
Are these creatures distracted with the eating, or are there more than just
Yeah. Yeah, so there's probably within your area that you can sense, there's probably about 6 of these creatures. Two of them are chowing on that one guy. The other gank, you can see he's kind of trying to like get up and aim his blaster to try to shoot them off of his companion. But you can see these two kind of maneuvering in on him, like they're gonna get him, and he doesn't even know it.
Is there a way like out of this? Like, do we gotta go down this alley? Is there like another way?
No, yeah. I mean, there's potential. So the thing is, you guys don't necessarily know exactly what you're supposed to be doing down here. What you do know, or what the rumors say, is that this vigilante comes out when the innocent, whatever that means, are being threatened, attacked, or whatever down here. You just happen to sense this down the alleyway here. But there's plenty of, I mean, there's lots of different ways to go. You're in, you're kind of in this big, like, it would almost be like a town square kind of thing, like, where a bunch of sort of intersections would come out from.
I would probably suggest, what's happening down in the alleys is not what we're here for.
That's true. Although you do get the sense that if you don't intervene, somebody's going to get killed. Not necessarily you guys, and not necessarily the ganks, but potentially an innocent. So
okay. Well, the last thing he feels like doing is getting into another fight, but if it's potentially an innocent, not only should he intervene, but there's a chance that, this vigilante may show up. So, yeah, I'll try to start carefully making my way towards this altercation that's going on.
Okay. And so you guys see Neo kind of heading off towards the alleyway. Are you guys going to follow?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Since we ended a encounter, though, can we try to recover some strain?
Not at this particular moment, only because there is still enough danger potentially present that you're kind of like, "Ugh," but yes, soon. Yeah, you can definitely do that.
All right,
so
weapon
yeah,
out,
what's
shield
that?
Up, weapon out and shield up,
Yeah, exactly.
approaching.
Nice. So you kind of start heading down this alley, and just as you do that, you hear behind you this, "Wah!" This horrible scream, and the gank is getting ripped apart by those two vicious creatures that just got him.
I try not to smile too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I won't give you any conflict for that because, they were trying to kill you after all. But you can definitely sense this palpable fear. And as you're making your way down this alley, it starts to crystallize a little bit more in your mind. There's definitely two figures, two life forms. They seem probably like, humanoid. And you can sense that they're sort of backed into a corner, maybe quite literally. And you can sense that there are 3 of these creatures kind of closing in on them. But you would be coming in behind these creatures.
And what is it that they're collapsing in on? Sorry.
Yeah, well, you don't necessarily know because you can't sense this through the Force.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. You just know your Force buddy is going down this way.
So he's like leading the way down this alleyway, and then I can see the 3 bad guys, and he looks like he's ready to take action. Then
Yeah.
I'll just kind of give the puzzled grunt, and then like charge forward, and punch one of them in the back.
Okay. So you're gonna kind of rush past him and just like,
Yep.
charge down the alleyway.
Yeah, punch it.
Okay. Awesome.
Why not?
Yeah. So we'll resolve that in just a minute. But Neo, as you see this happening, you see the Gamoran kind of charging past you. Did you want to take any action, or did you want to do anything, or are you just gonna kind of see how it plays out?
Well, I was trying to go for like a stealthy approach, but this works as well, and it also eliminates, makes it less likely that the creatures will continue attacking them. So when I see that, I'll give a slight exasperated sigh as I ignite my lightsaber and then begin charging in after him.
Okay, nice. So what we'll do
and
then...
actually, I would also, I'm not really familiar with it because this is the first time I've had a character with committing the force power. Do I have to turn that off to commit it to something else, or can I just switch it?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say you can just switch it.
Okay, yeah. Basically, so now instead of it being defensive, I'm gonna go for offensive, where I get to upgrade my attacks twice.
Okay, fantastic. And so so you kind of have that. Have you ignited your lightsaber, or are you just kind of?
I hadn't, but as soon as he runs by, I'm like, okay, there's no need for the stealth approach. So yeah, I ignite it, and so that white light, comes to brilliance in the shadow, and I begin rushing forward.
Absolutely. And Jin, you see this scene as well, right? So you kind of feel, and the sense of this big hulking Gamorrean kind of walking past you, and you see Neo ignite his lightsaber, and I can imagine you could kind of sense maybe it's anticipation or whatever, and you can also sense that fear up ahead of you. So how do you react to this situation?
Well, I probably would have stayed back because there was more of these creatures that we just left behind us. So he'd be going in behind these 2, but he would keep turning around and make sure there was nothing coming up behind him. And as soon as he heard the sound of the lightsaber, starts going into action, he'd just whip out his blaster carbine and get behind some kind of cover and just be ready.
Okay. Awesome. So we're going to stick with the same initiative order. So that means that 2 of you guys get to act first. I presume that Brosk is going to do his thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. So as you're doing this, you're coming up behind these 3 creatures, and they're completely caught by surprise. Although if you're kind of running in and whatever, they might now be aware that you're there, but I'm going to say that you're going to get a boost on your attack because they weren't.
Whichever one of them is the biggest and looks the alpha, that's the one I'm punching.
Yeah, that's fine. So they're kind of like standing 3 abreast, and you can't quite see what they're looking at, but yeah, there's definitely the one in the middle is kind of the bigger one.
I'll charge it right at him.
Awesome. Alrighty. Yeah, so standard difficulty, but you can take a boost.
Move, and I will take 2 strain to aim to make sure I hit him.
Okay.
And spend a destiny point.
Oh, all right.
To get to upgrade my attack rolls. So here we go. Okay, so that is
a lot.
10 damage.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use 2 advantages to as a loud, electronic sounding, the sound like whenever a cattle prod hits something like that, like that sound goes off, and the creature would just kind of convulse for a moment, and I'm activating Concussive 2, which staggers him for 2 rounds, which means he loses his action for 2 rounds.
Yep, absolutely.
And then, let's see, that leaves me with 5 advantages.
Yep.
I will use 4 of them to crit.
All right. These are minions.
Oh,
So.
damn.
Mm-hmm. So you can, but if you want to, you know.
Well, actually, if they're minions, is the 10 damage pierce 1 enough to like drop the big one?
It's actually not. They have a surprisingly high wound threat or soak, but so no, he would still be alive. Unless you want to kill him by using a crit.
Actually, in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since I just ran into the middle of them and punched the one, I'm just going to like reach out and just like slap the other 2, basically get all their attention on me, and pass 5 boost dice to the next ally to attack.
Okay.
I've got all their attention like on me, so.
Nice. Like you and then you're like bonk and bonk heads or something. Yeah. Yep. Nice. Poke one in the eye.
So
all right.
5 boost dice for the next guy.
Wow.
So hopefully the lightsaber wielder can like drop the rest of these.
Yeah, that's fine. Definitely. All right. Well, who wants to go next then?
Go ahead, Neil. You were charging ahead.
Yeah. So basically, as he charges in the middle, I cut to the right, and I begin weaving my lightsaber as I spin into the outside of the group and start cutting away.
Awesome. Josh, just remind me, did you use one of your abilities to crit and kill the main guy, or did you
No, I just concussed him, and then I passed 5 boost dice along.
All right, perfect. Yep.
As I got all their attention focused on me.
2 difficulty, correct?
Yeah, but actually I'm gonna use a destiny point to upgrade.
Sure.
So 1 red, 1 purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
He probably kills all 3 of them.
So, holy shit. Yeah, so you certainly kill the first one.
Yeah, it's 10 damage with the breach. And that's
well,
1,
so
2 crits.
Are you using 6, 7, 8? Oh yeah, okay, right, because you added the 4 to the 6. Yep, that makes sense. 10 damage. Yep. Holy shit, yeah, 2 crits and a triumph. All right, you kill them. Irrespective of the triumph. So you take out all 3 of them and you still have your triumph left. And so you can decide if you want what you want to do with that triumph.
Those are, I mean, there's no more enemy, at least in the immediate vicinity, right?
No, in fact, if you want to kind of describe what the scene looks like where you basically kill all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, so basically I was kind of just walking forward with my, lightsaber extinguished, and then the Gamorrean kind of runs and charges by me, and I ignite it and begin walking faster and begin my run as he charges in the center of him and just starts throwing punches. And I kind of veer to the right and begin my spin, and just with a flurry of saber blows, just continue, a half circle movement around, and I stop and slash down as they begin to tumble to the ground in pieces. For the triumph, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if you want, I'll let you save. I'll let you hold the triumph.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I can't think of anything immediately.
The only thing I can think of for the triumph is maybe they, as you're like cutting them down, they give, rather than like if it's thinking like animals, rather than giving like the call for attention from the others, they like give the run and hide type yell. So all the other mutant things take off, and we don't have to worry about getting jumped by the entire herd. But that's the only thing I can think of if all the threats are actually dead from the rest of the roll.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually, at least as of right now, you don't sense any more threat from these things. Obviously, these are dead, and the other ones that were there are otherwise occupied. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I'll say, for the sake of fun, seeing what happens later, you can save that
Okay, sounds
triumph.
good.
Yeah, so just make note of that. And you see in front of you now these two figures, and they're cowering. They're terrified. I mean, they are utterly terrified. And you see that they're these like almost like misshapen forms. Like they're humans, but something's wrong with them. They're mutated in some way, and they're they have these like very basic like kind of clothes with with a hood, like a cloak, and you can see they're holding in their trembling hands. One has a knife, not even a vibro blade, but just like just a regular old steel knife, and the other one has this crude crossbow, made out of weird material, with this like vicious bolt on it. I mean, just very primitive. But their eyes are just glued on your lightsaber. And they're looking at you, and you can tell that they're like trying to say something, but they're like backed up against the wall, like don't hurt us kind of thing.
So yeah, I'll lower the saber down to my side as I raise my other hand to palm out to them, and I'll say, "You're now safe for the moment."
And can I use my force ability to influence them that we're their friends?
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
All right, trying to roll for that.
Damn, man, the
Man,
dark
I'm
side
I'm having it tonight.
is pulling at you today.
No,
should've
apparently you cannot convince anyone that you're their friend.
Yeah.
I'm a Zabrak. They don't want to be my friend anymore.
Yeah. So again, you kind of might reach out to the force, but it's just dark, darkness swirling all around, and you feel that seductive pull, and you're like, ooh, no, I'll let my friend handle it. And so so they look up at you, Neo, and one of them kind of takes their hood off a little bit, and this one's it looks kind of older, right? The skin is a little bit more wrinkled, and it has patchy gray hair. This is the one holding the crossbow. The other one is smaller, and you can tell that it's probably like, you can't tell their gender necessarily, but it's probably like a parent and child. At least that's the sort of connection you're getting. And as you say that, the adult figure is like, oh, thank you, we owe you a great debt. What brings you down here? How may we help you?
So with that, seeing them relax somewhat, I will reach up with my free hand slowly and pull down my own hood to reveal my features, offering a smile. And I guess probably at this point, I'll go ahead and start using my charm. And I'll say, we have heard rumors of one that moves in the shadows that has been attacking people here in the down below. We've come seeking information about this person.
And as soon as you mention, this guy in the shadows, you can see this sort of look of maybe like a flash of panic for just a minute, and then shame in their eyes. And she says to you, what information is it that you seek, and who sent you?
So yeah, as I'm speaking, I'll begin, as I said, charming, and I'll release my pheromones, which kind of aid in that as I move closer. And I'll say, I would like to learn more about this individual, what their motives are, where they operate, so that I may speak with them.
And you can see, like, she kind of leans her face in really close to you, like, I mean, like almost nose to nose, as close as she can be without touching, and you can smell just this fetid, acrid breath. It's just disgusting. But but her eyes, I mean, you're staring right into her eyes, and you don't sense any malice or danger. She's basically trying to probe you, not in some sort of, using the force or anything, but she's trying to gauge your intent. And she can see that what you're saying, is true. You genuinely do want some information. And so she backs up and she says, I know this man. I can take you to him, but I I must warn you, he's dangerous. You do not wish to tangle with this man, even one such as you. And her, as she said, or he says that, or whatever, you can't tell. It looks at the lightsaber in your hand and says, you very well may need that if things don't go well. But if you want, I can take you to this person. I can tell you that. And you start getting the impression that maybe it's a female. She pauses and she says, once he was a good man. Now I'm not so sure.
At the comment and the glance down to the lightsaber, my gaze follows hers, and I will extinguish it and clip it to my belt and say, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
And
though, of course, I already have my serious doubts that will be the case. But
yeah. And she says, very well. Why don't you come with us? We will make sure that you have food and water, and we will send a message to him. I cannot guarantee anything. I cannot guarantee that he will meet you, but I will do my best. It's the most the least I can do for your assistance here. Thank you so much.
I reach up and pull my hood down and bow and say, your offer of hospitality is appreciated. In exchange, we shall escort you in safety. And I'll glance back at my two companions.
Awesome. And if you guys want, why don't we take like just a quick 5-minute break? I want to grab some water. So maybe we'll convene back at 10:45, if that's cool.
That sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Well, PC's managed to survive the ganks. That's good. We'll see if the ghost puts an end to their lives or if they are able to come out successful. Check the chat here, see. All right, had some people watching, that's cool. Barker's got secrets. That's fun. Hey, hey. Darkside is calling to you today, huh?
Man, these rolls. I should have been a dark side user. I'd have been all set.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would have been fun. I was kind of hoping that somebody would use a dark side point, but we'll see. I had ideas there.
I was half debating into making him a dark side user, but what's his name already had a light side user. I was like, they wouldn't be in the same group, so I just made him light.
I mean, yeah, it depends. I think the cool thing about this system is it's so versatile that, and especially
I think he would.
Yeah,
Because he would try to bring you back to the light side.
Yeah.
And even though I'm sort of running this more as a Edge of the Empire adventure, man, Force and that's what it's all about in Force and Destiny, like just that conflict, right? And how the party deals with that and how you individually deal with that, it's like, it's so cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because I've done, Force user characters before, but it's typically been in a Force user campaign. I've not really had. I have a character in a long running campaign that's just starting to get into the Force now, and not everybody in the party is, but this has been a pretty unique and fun experience of being in that feel of the Edge of the Empire with a Force user. It definitely feels different.
Yeah.
This is the first Force user that I've made, that I've played.
Oh goodness. Oh, newbies.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance.
Oh yeah. Well, and I've
been running so many games that I feel like I've played a lot more, but I haven't got to play that many really. Yeah.
Well, and like this was one of the very first stories that I wanted to tell. Like as soon as I got the, the Lords of Nalhutta book, and I was reading about Nar Shaddaa, I was like, literally, I had this. Okay, I want a group of PCs to go down into the Darklands and find something down here, and I was like, this will be perfect for Force users. So I'm glad you guys chose to do that. Nice. So, I mean, yeah, if you guys are ready, we can continue.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, now you can definitely, recover strain and whatever, do that whole thing. If you need to heal up or whatever, you can certainly do that. The two figures, as they're leading you back, the older one is kind of in the lead, and you can see the littler one off to the side, and she'll kind of dart off into an alley and come back, and you can see that she's basically gathering trash. Like she's got this little sack, right, and she's like scavenging things. But what she's picking up, it looks kind of gross and dirty and whatever. But she keeps eyeing the sort of the electronic devices that you have and the glow rod that one of you guys might be carrying. Because these guys can see in the dark. I assume one of you has lit your light source, because otherwise you can't see. What's that? You got your goggles. Okay.
I've got an optic suit.
Yeah, I would have had got the glow rod off my belt.
Nice.
Same with my Jedi pouch.
Yep. Awesome. So the rest, so the other two are just whatever. We're fine. But yeah, you got your glow, and she is looking at that thing like it is gold. Like, I mean, because there's no
because it might actually be down here.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's like this is where it hits you the most, that like Nar Shaddaa is so bustling and so opulent, and it's dirty and nasty and whatever, but like the upper city is, I mean, credits flow through there like, like it's nothing. And down here, it's the same place, but down here, it's like a whole different world. And these people have nothing. And she's just looking at, and she looks at the blaster at your side, and you can tell that like they just live a miserable existence. And you couple that with the fact that you can imagine with all the death stick dealers, right, and the gangs that are down here, that even if they try to stay out of trouble, I mean, they could get killed just walking down, the street. So this is the area. This is the, sort of where you're at this point. This is truly the dark side of Nar Shaddaa. And the Hutts have basically brought you down here to make sure, well, really not the Hutts, I guess it's Black Sun, has sent you down here to make sure that this existence continues and that they can continue to sell their, their drugs down here. And as that maybe is going through your mind, and you're kind of, you're looking around, maybe like, whoa, shit, I don't want, any of these weird creatures coming out again. You manage to make it through safely, and she brings you into this building. The Duracrete is just falling down and whatever. It looks like, man, you might not actually want to step foot in this building because you feel like it could collapse on you. And yet she's like, come on in. So you assume, all right, maybe it's sturdy enough. And just this warren of just sort of pitch black Duracrete everywhere. You can't, you can hardly see, but as you're going through, it's almost like a tenement building. Like these eyes are kind of peering out from a door or a little window or whatever. And, it looked very similar to the two people that are leading you. And a couple of people, especially seeing the glow rod, are like, whoa, and as you're making your way down the hallway, you start to gain a little bit of an audience. And if Brusk is taking up the rear, I might imagine, like, as he looks back a little bit, they stop and they jump, and they're like, because
once we start getting like the attention of more than a few people, mm-hmm. I'm actually going to make it hit the dials on my power gauntlet, basically, to where every once in a while it just like gives the whine, like it's charging up and then like discharging energy. So hopefully it will dissuade people from like getting too interested in us.
Oh yeah, well, and it doesn't, right? They keep their distance. They're like, oh gosh.
Right. Like, yeah. I don't mind the curious people just being curious. I'm using it more to like, okay, the people who are thinking, hey, we can take their stuff.
Oh no.
Those people I'm hoping it will dissuade.
You don't get that vibe at all. And especially like, not only are they looking at you curious, but they, particularly they're shooting these dirty looks, right? And it's, Gamorreans are associated with the Hutts, right? Yeah. So you can tell.
What are you talking about? That's normal. Like, that's normal. I'm not thinking anything interesting about
exactly. You can tell you're not welcome here, which is a very welcoming feeling to you.
It's normal.
Yeah. But, and so, as this kind of happens, and, then she gets finally to the door, and she, and it's not even really a door, it's like a curtain. She just kind of pushes it aside, and you go into her building, and the little girl, kind of follows and puts her sack down in what you might assume is the kitchen. And she goes up to her. I think my kid might be waking up, so we'll see. I may have to do a quick pause, but the daughter kind of whispers in her ear, and she says, the mom looks up to you and says, we don't have much, but anything that we can offer, any food or drink, we would be more than happy to. And as she says this, the kid is just like, you could tell she's like, don't do it. Like, they don't have anything. And she just kind of looks up at you, the older one, like waiting for your answer. Like, can I get you something?
Neo, for his part, will once they're in their area, will pull his hood back down, and he'll again lift his hand palm out and say, "Offer is appreciated, but nothing for me." And he'll reach into his little one of the hidden pouches on his Jedi belt and pull out a food capsule and take that.
Oh, awesome. I like it, as in you're offering it to them?
Yeah.
Okay. So she takes it and just looks at it like she's completely stunned. She can't fathom how this is happening, right? Nobody does this. People take from these guys, they don't give to them. And she looks at you and you can see these tears coming down and she's like, thank you. You don't know what this means. And she's kind of hesitating and stumbling a little bit. She says, I must say, I do not think it's a good idea for you to meet the man you are asking about. Once maybe, but now I fear a good man such as yourself may not do too well.
At that, the Gamorrean will basically just start grunting and whatnot, and as she understands Gamorrean, he's basically saying, I'll take a water, and that's why he brought me. And then he like looks at the girl with the scavenge stuff, and he pulls out some of the tools from his toolkit, and just like goes to sit on the ground near her and just look at what she scavenged, seeing if he can tinker it into anything. And
yeah, kind of yeah, absolutely. And so as you kind of get near her stuff, she shoots you this mad look like she's mad at you, but she backs away. She's like, whoa, you know. And as you're kind of looking through her stuff, you realize that she's actually scavenged some stuff that you could probably use. I mean, there's a lot of just kind of broken electronic parts and, you know, parts of blasters and speeders, but that's a little bit of what she's got. But mostly she's collected bits of, it seems like, food scraps and some kind of organic matter and you know, pieces of clothing, very, you know, like subsistence level stuff.
The electronics, is there enough stuff that I could jury rig some sort of glow lamp or something along those lines?
Yeah, I would say that there's like you're kind of digging through and you see like a part of a blaster with a partially charged power pack still in it, and yeah, there's like stuff that you could probably jury rig something.
Then what I want to do is I want to jury rig that into like a little glow lamp, and using some of the cloth, turn it into like a glove with a glow lamp that someone could use to get light in an area. And once it's kind of functional to where it would work for that, I'll turn it on and then push it over towards the scavenger.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Yeah, and so she looks at it, and she looks at you, and she looks at it, and she's sort of like, she's not sure what to do. She's like, is this a bomb? Is this going to blow up? But her curiosity gets the better of her, and she grabs it.
Okay.
And then she kind of takes it off into the other room, and a couple of, you know, like a minute later, she comes back with this, like, it looks like maybe like a clay cup or something, and her hands are shaking, and she kind of like brings it over to you and puts down this cup of just filthy, dirty water.
And he takes it.
Yeah. Nice.
He's like, he's a good morning, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And
if it's not like actively radioactive, I don't care.
Well, it very well could be, but you know,
I don't have a way of knowing. So,
and then she's sort of excited, and she kind of goes off with this glow, just marveling and, you know, shining it around her house, and the, you know, the older one looks, and she's like, if you still wish to go see this man, I will put the word out, but I must warn you, as I have before, you may not wish this confrontation.
Neo will nod and say, you were probably right, but unfortunately, circumstances dictate that we must meet with this man. But your warning is understood and appreciated.
And Jin will say, if we truly are good people. And this man who hunts evil may not want anything to do with us.
And she looks at you, and she kind of like, like taps her fingers up to her head, and she's like, this place has a funny way of defining evil. I don't think that he can necessarily tell anymore. But it seems as though your minds are made up. You're welcome to stay here. I will put out the word, and when I hear, I will let you know where to go. And if you guys are cool with that, she will depart the building. She brings her daughter with her, and you guys are kind of hanging out. And I don't know, Neo, if you're the kind of Force user that would take time to sort of meditate on the Force and whatever. But if you are, this would certainly be the place to do it. This is the first time that you have felt somewhat at peace, even though there's this sort of looming threat of the warnings that she gave you. And this is by nature, a very dangerous area. Just all of the hustle and the bustle and all of the just that crushing feeling of Nar Shaddaa proper is gone down here. There's no sound, right? It's hard to breathe, but it's calm and peaceful.
Yeah, definitely. Probably at first, I would just practice some basic meditation techniques. My thoughts would be on our task. As I've been pretty much, kind of as we discussed, on the run and hiding, and been forced into other situations like this of having to do what I have to do. It has caused me some conflict regarding the Force, but it's, the Jedi Code is something that I try to adhere to. And, when we took this job, I had some conflict about it, because there's perhaps not going the right way about it, but he seems to be trying to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always been the back of my mind of exactly how we're going to handle this situation and that. And I'm not sure if it would be comforting or not, but knowing that with what the woman has said, that this is probably not just something as simple as, someone good doing something good, which kind of selfishly would make him having to deal with the situation in the way that they've been hired to a lot easier. But he wouldn't find, a lot of peace with that because he's just not sure how this is going to go down. So he'd kind of push those thoughts away and then try to center himself with the Force. First, just concentrating on those in the room, reaching out with his sense, sensing the bodies, and then slowly stretching outward to try to center himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you do that, you can definitely sense that there are other living beings around you. Not a lot. There are creatures that live down here, and people, obviously, as you've witnessed, but not a ton, certainly. But there definitely seems to be somewhat of an excitement. Maybe not in the way that, like if a celebrity walks into the room or whatever, but of an anticipation. Something is going to happen. And you're not quite sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And Jin, you would feel a lot of conflicting emotions as well in the Force. Again, you would feel this sort of dichotomy, right, where there's a lot of pain and anger and suffering down here, and yet it's a much more simple life, and there are acts of of goodness that are happening every day, and people working together. So it's a very kind of curious juxtaposition to what you witnessed, you know, in the upper cities. And Bruss, you're kind of just taking it all in, maybe not quite phased by it, but thinking a little bit about, you know, if shit goes down, man, I hope that my you know, my gauntlet is charged up enough, because
Yep.
you know, Bruss wants to punch.
But like while we're waiting and whatnot, the one thing that Brosk will be doing is because he knows that like within his clan he is one of the weaker ones, and he finds that the scavenging and repairing like gives him opportunities and whatnot. So the scavenger really kind of resonates with him, the little kid.
Yep.
So when she seems to settle down a bit, he's going to like take the glow lamp thing, the jury rig glow lamp, back again. He's going to disassemble it and reassemble it again in front of her, basically teaching her, trying to teach her how to, like, if she gets these parts again, she can make it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Basically teaching her some basic jury rig schematic type things that might
Yeah.
help her.
Definitely. Yeah, she gets it, and she starts warming up to you a little bit, in that sort of mutual bond, but also the fact that, like, you know, what you've created for her is very, very valuable to her as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, sort of before the scene transitions, maybe the last thing that goes through your mind is like, you could be someone of great value here to these people. But it would be a tough life. And as you guys kind of spend, you know, several minutes that go into hours just kind of doing your thing, eventually the woman comes back into the room, and she seeks out Neo, and she says, "It is done. He will meet with you. I will show you the way. But I must beseech you one more time. Stay here. Don't go. You," and she looks to the rest of you guys, "you could be helpful here. You could do some good. Consider it."
Brosk gets up and like gets his gear together and kind of does the whole pop and neck thing. Like,
I offer just a faint smile in response as I pull up my hood and say, "You're ready."
the one thing I will do though is like after we get ready and he like listens to what she says a little bit, and then before we actually depart, a couple of the tools from his toolkit, nothing like the screwdriver that he just wouldn't be able to do stuff without, but a couple of the tools he'll leave behind with the scavenger. So she has the beginnings of a toolkit at least.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you keep the hydro spanner because obviously, you know, you need that.
Like if I need to do anything, I need that. But,
yeah. But yeah, just some of the basic tools. Yeah, that's great. And, you know, and it just sort of lends that much more weight to the woman's words. And you guys kind of, you know, you're back out into the streets again, and it's dark, and she's just, you know, going along, leading you this way and that. But there are now several people behind you, and they have like torches lit, and basically every so often they'll like turn around and they kind of wave their torches, you know, like whatever. And you get the sense, and the force users can sense, you know, some creatures on the periphery, like whatever. But you know, and you can see like these guys, some of them have crossbows and some of them have spears. You know, I mean, they live a very primitive lifestyle down here, but there's no immediate danger. These guys are actually actively protecting you, which is ironic because you probably don't need it. But you've ingratiated yourselves to them. And so you travel this way for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, just walking through, you know, the undercity here of what at one point may have been old Nar Shaddaa. And if it's hard to kind of get your directions and your bearings down here, but you feel like you might be heading towards like a center point of the city. And as you do, you just start feeling more and more unease, right? You start feeling more pain and more anger and more strife all around you. And as you're walking, you actually notice the surroundings are much more broken down. There are corpses on the street. There are men and women huddled, looking just like the most wretched beings you could ever imagine. A couple of them kind of reach out to you, and you see one, say, "Do you have any death sticks? Please, do you have any death sticks?" As they're kind of shaking, trying to put their hand up. It's missing a couple of fingers and whatever. And then like a couple of the guys kind of, act as crowd control in a sense. And then they stop. And there's this large building in front of you. It looks like it may have been like an amphitheater or something, or maybe a some sort of factory. You don't know, but it's a great big structure. And the woman turns to you, and Neo, and she says, "This is where you will meet him." She says, "If you ever are down this way again, seek out Gresha. I will help you. You have been a great value to us. I thank you for your service down here. You do not know what it means to us." And she kind of gives that nod to the other two as well, so, extending that same to you guys.
And I'll thank her for her hospitality.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Now you should return home.
Very good. And may the force be with you.
And with you.
As she says that, you can sort of, you feel this sense of purpose. You feel almost as if the force is calling you. And you notice that there's what at one point was probably where two double doors would have gone. Now it's just an opening in the wall, but it's definitely the entrance to this large building. And this is maybe a 3-story building. It's actually fairly decent shape considering what's around it. This may have been a building that was cared for at one point, more so than the others. But what are you guys going to do?
Is the crowd still around us?
No, everybody's dispersed.
I'm going to go up to, I'm not going to enter the door. I'm just going to go up like beside the wall beside it and just listen. See if I can hear anything going on inside.
Gotcha. And you can't. It's just the same weird silence, that you've been hearing since you got down here. Not weird, but weird compared to what Nar Shaddaa is normally like.
The Gamorrean just kind of is looking at the two of them and looking at the building.
Is there any openings up like second story or something? Third
Yeah.
story?
I mean, there would be like windows, areas where they at one point probably had some sort of, window in there. Now it's just openings, but yeah, definitely.
So I will move to stand in front of the doorway, and then I'm going to attempt to reach out with a force to see if I can sense any living things within short range within the building.
Okay. So
Oh, jeez.
do you want to draw on the dark side to do that?
Well, I would feel that, much like my companion, pretty much this whole time, and it started the moment that we began descending the elevator, that there was this, if not the dark side itself, the emotions tied within the dark side that have kind of been pervading our thoughts and our feelings. And given that I already have this, conflict regarding this task, I think that I probably would, almost without thinking, just instinctively, with a wariness of what awaits us inside and the darkness around us, that I probably would reach out to use it.
Okay. Great. Yeah. So, all right. So you flip the destiny point and take the strain. And the force is there at your fingertips, ready for your use. The easy, and you're using kind of your apprehension and your fear to conflict. Or no, sorry, one conflict for that. To do that. And you sense this presence. You sense a very powerful presence in the force. You sense a single being with a lot of anger and a lot of rage and shame. And you can instinctively tell that as soon as you reached out to the dark side, it was like this burgeoning, like this awakening. He's now aware of you, and you can tell it's a male figure. And it's almost as if it's not exactly like you're connected per se, but like there is some sort of connection between the two of you now in the force.
Right. Yeah, and that would make sense. And there'd probably be a similar reaction as there was earlier. Neo is pretty powerful in the force in regarding his sense power, and he feels a strong connection with that power. And so, as before, when he touches and he feels, compounding just the general feeling that he gets from all the inhabitants of this place, and his features would actually twist, mimicking these emotions briefly, not just sensing them, but experiencing them as his own very strongly for a moment. And he would visibly, almost like stumble, like his knees would weaken for a moment. He'd kind of step forward and catch himself and give a slow shake of his head as he, caused to his will to kind of push it again outside of himself, as his gaze turns to the darkness of the doorway, and he says, he's inside. I do not believe that there will be any talking. I believe this is someone that has traveled too far down the dark path and has lost himself. And there'd be a hint of regret in his voice, and also a strong sense of foreboding as, his own path. He's had his own stumbles, and while he tries to stick to the Jedi code, he has had his conflict, and as he just had, he strongly feels that darkness within himself at this very moment.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that as you kind of stumbled, you may have taken a step or two inside the building, almost as if you were being drawn in. And as you do that, you would feel the force at work, and you would see this movement. And Jen, if you were kind of looking around and looking up, you would actually see movement from the second story, like kind of jump, almost like somebody was jumping down from the second story, to the first story, and you would be able to hear the sort of thud as somebody lands. And I don't know if Brusk would even know if he's still outside of the building or not, but Neo and Jin definitely are aware of the figure. And Neo, you could see this sort of robed figure standing in the middle of the, this huge room in front of you, just huge open room.
I'm making my way in with them. I mean, he's not gonna
Yep.
wait outside if they're gonna.
Yeah, and as soon as I see the figure, basically I would draw my lightsaber and ignite it and begin a cool, slow walk forward. I will also, I imagine with the length of time, I would have, stopped committing my force, but I will now once again commit it to defense, upgrading his, any attacks against me by 2.
Yeah.
Until I can take a measure of, because I sense this is a very dangerous foe, and but my course is set. I don't, due to outside circumstances, I have no choice. Not only at this point do I think that's probably best for the safety of everyone here, but for our own ends, we cannot be stuck here. I want out of this place rather desperately now, and so that kind of drives me forward.
Yeah.
Well, not nice. That quite bad, but yeah.
Yeah. And as soon as you ignite your lightsaber, you feel from this figure just this intense rage. And you almost can interpret it as like, how dare you come in here and, ask to meet with me and then ignite your lightsaber. And you can see for a minute, like, he almost reacts, like it looks like he's going for a weapon, but you can't see one. And he's got this hood on, but he's also got a mask across his face, like this. He's totally obscured. He's this, very mysterious figure, and he looks at you, and he looks at Jin, and he almost ignores Brosh, and he says in this deep voice, "You asked to meet with me, and I have obliged your request. You come here, and you treat me like this. What is it that you want?"
I'll say, you'll have to forgive my friend. We've been a little at ease since we've stepped off the platform. We're not used to such dark surroundings.
And he says, "That is understandable. It does take a long time to come to grips with how far you have fallen. But your friend still has his lightsaber ignited, and this is my domain."
So yeah, after moving into the room, I would begin kind of like circling to the right. I wouldn't be, walking up to engage him at the moment. I'd just kind of be circling around, and I'll say, "I sense it within you, darkness. I know what is inside you."
And
Brosh starts saying something in Gamorrean as well. Does he seem to understand me?
Tell me what it is that you say.
I basically tell him that Lord Trillo has demanded that you evacuate and cease your activities, and you must do so. Like, just pointedly, like, you have to do it. I mean, like, not like he's trying to be intimidating, not like he's making a request. It's just
like a matter of fact. Yeah.
This is what has to happen.
And so, as Neo says what he says, and then you say this in Gamorrean, his gaze does come over to you, Brusk, and he kind of looks at you, and you can't tell on his face, but his voice changes a little bit, and it's a little bit like there's some mirth in it. And he says, "I'll tell you what. I'll let you live so you can go back and tell Trillo." And is Trillo a guy or a girl?
I don't know. It's your NPC.
We're going to say it's a guy.
Okay.
That you tell him if he wants me to leave, he can come down here himself, or he can send someone better than you.
At that, he like bristles.
Yep. But then he turns back to Neo and he says, the darkness permeates everything down here. You cannot help but be affected by it. But what I have found is that in the darkness, there is power. The darkness can be used for harm, but it can also empower you. It can help you in your goals when you wish to protect those that can't protect themselves. He says, I sense conflict in you. You want to do the right thing, and yet you look around at this place and you know that you could be useful here. So what is it that you want?
Neo will shake his head at the words and say that is the lies of the dark side. That power that you speak of only leads to destruction and death. It is not too late for you. You can turn from this path. It does not have to be this way. You can leave with us. You can leave this place and leave the dark that it has over you behind as well.
And he says to you, what do you know of the dark side? What do you know of the Jedi? He says, and he looks at you and he says, you're not old enough to know the Jedi. You're not old enough to know, and maybe you are, but he's assuming that you aren't. He's saying,
no, he's very young.
Yeah, he's like,
very young.
You know nothing of the corruption of the Jedi. You know nothing of their weakness. He says, the Jedi were noble. I know that, but they were arrogant. They shunned knowledge and power that they could have used to help defend the Republic. And you come here, a boy, weak in the Force, lecturing me about the dark side. Let me tell you something. You have great potential. I can sense in you the desire to learn, the desire to protect, the desire to seek the mysteries of the Force. I could teach you those things. The dark side is but one half of the Force. It is not the only part of the Force. And if you know both sides, then you truly gain enlightenment. If you join me, I can help complete your training, and I can help you find the purpose that you've been seeking for so long. And perhaps you may find sanctuary here.
At that point,
go ahead.
At that point, Jin will say, Neo, don't listen to him. You've seen the dark side before, how it clouds minds, clouds visions. He's down here thinking he's the judge, the jury, and the executioner. His dark side is not as powerful as he wants you to think.
Yeah, at this point, Neo will begin closing his circle as he's circling around, but now moving inwards as he begins cutting through the dark air with his white lightsaber. And in response to the figure's words, he begins, there is no emotion, there is peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge. And he just begins repeating the code as he moves closer.
Mm-hmm.
Ross, for his part, is very confused by all the talkie-talkie.
Yep.
He's just like, are we fighting?
Should we get to the fighting now?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's like, I mean, because he's thinking like from the militant standpoint of the Gamorrean, it's like if this guy says no, then the only other option is to fight, and you guys are still talking. I don't get it.
Yep.
But he's standing there at the ready, like every once in a while he'll like the charge, like a built-up charge will zap from the gauntlet.
Yeah, and as he sees this, and as he sees you, Neo, kind of moving in ever closer, and he hears you reciting the code, he shakes his head. And you can tell, you can sense this emotion just swirling in him, and he says, "It seems as though you have this romantic view of the Jedi. You recite the code, and yet you do not understand it. Not fully. How could you? You come down here on the bidding of those that seek to destroy the world, seek to unbalance the world and the Force. Why? Because you need credits, you need to get off this world, you need to, what, you seek atonement? What, I don't know, but I do know one thing.
When he says you come down here at the bidding of those who wish to destroy the world,
yeah,
Rosh will like look confused for a moment, and then in Gamorrean he like shouts, like loud grunts and snorts come from him, and in Gamorrean he says, "Trillo will be great. My clan will make sure of it," as he like charges forward at that point.
Okay. So as you charge forward, you see him kind of push his cloak aside, and he, like almost as if the Force, pulls this cylinder into his hand, and he ignites this yellow lightsaber. And then he, with almost unbelievable speed, jumps, and he jumps way up into the air and does almost like a backflip and lands on a catwalk above you. And then as you kind of are spinning to look, as he kind of jumps, above and behind you, you see the other side of his lightsaber ignite. And he kind of starts twirling it around.
And
he
suddenly, Brosk is thinking, this is a bad place to be right now.
Yeah. He says, "There is no need to fight." And almost as if his voice is magnified because he's way above you, but you can hear it. He says, "My quarrel is not with you. In fact, I already told you I'd let you live. You go tell your boss, Trillo, however great he may be, he will not have the Darklands. They are mine, and I will protect the people here."
You're right, it does not have to be a fight. You can come with us. If you continue on this path, how long before you take the life of an innocent? They already fear you. It will not be long before your journey takes you too far beyond help, when you have the blood of innocence on your hands. Come with us now.
He starts laughing as soon as you say innocence. He's like, "Do you know where you are? There are no innocents here. But listen, these people, I do more good for these people than anybody on this godforsaken moon. If I'm not here, they will suffer and they will die. At least I can do something, and maybe, just maybe, I can make their world a little bit better, and maybe we can bring down some of the evil that is causing their suffering. That is all I can do at this point. Coming with you will leave these people to a fate worse than they have now."
While he's talking, I'm going to look around and see if I can figure out a way to get to the catwalk that he's on, other than having to do an impossible jump.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're like, you're getting the impression that this was probably an industrial facility at some point, and so there are stairs that would lead up to the catwalks on either end. This is a large building, so you would have to walk fairly far down to the end of the building, but yeah, there are stairs that lead up to the catwalk.
I guess I'll start that way.
Okay.
And Jin will say to him, "And just how have you helped these people? You've alleviated their suffering. I still see suffering. I still see death and dishonor down here. Your actions have done nothing for these people.
And
The dark side clouds your mind. You see things. Your actions are not your actions."
And he says, maybe my mind is not as clouded as you think. What sent you down here in the first place? Why did you come down here?
To meet with you.
No. You did not come down here to meet with me. The people above, they don't even know me. No. Why did you come down here?
On a bounty.
For what purpose? Why was the bounty placed on me?
To get rid of you. So you can, because you're stopping the death stick dealers from dealing their wares down here.
Exactly. I am stopping those peddlers of death. I haven't stopped them all. Not yet. I'm one man. But with help, I could make a difference. With someone or someones that I could teach, that I could show the true ways of the Force. Not, and he says, I'm not talking about you becoming some Sith. No, but just learning to harness your abilities and to use those abilities to help. Imagine the difference we could make. So whose mind is it that is clouded?
Fine if I can hit him. Or his if I can hit him.
Yeah, and I'll say it'll take about 3 rounds for you to get within.
While they were just having that speech
an
back and forth, can I get close enough to make a
Yeah.
charge attack?
Well, not yet. I'll say that as they're having that speech, you would have made it to the stairs of the catwalk.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, while they're talking, I'm going to try to get in position to make an attack. I mean, I'll be as quiet as I can. I'm not
Sure.
exactly a quiet individual, but
Yep.
basically I'm not like talking and grunting and squeaking. I'm just kind of walking that way and letting them just keep having their conversation.
Yep. All right. Good deal. But yeah, so he says these words, and you guys know that your companion is going up onto the catwalk, and yeah, this guy's wielding a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah, this ain't.
Yeah, so I will begin, if I can find an alternate route to what he's taking, begin moving up as I continue talking, and I'll say, I understand what you're trying to do, but you have taken the wrong path in doing so. Even those that you say you are trying to protect fear you and feel that you are too far gone.
And as you say that, you can sense a bit of a shift in his demeanor, in his mood, and he says, perhaps I am too far gone. When you've seen the unrelenting darkness that I've seen, when you are feared and you are hunted simply for who you are, and there is no escape, it doesn't let up. Sometimes you resort to actions that you wish could be avoided, but maybe there is redemption. Maybe with the right person, I could find that purpose again. Join me, help me. Maybe we could do some good here, and maybe I could change.
It can be as you say, but down here, you could kill 100 of those that peddle the death and despair, and 200 more will take their place. But if you come with us, perhaps we can make a difference. Strike at those that can make a difference.
Yeah, listen to my companion. Stop striking at limbs and go for the head.
And he says, you haven't been on Nar Shaddaa long, have you? This place is... It's dangerous beyond what you can imagine. He says, listen, it's like a hydra. You strike down one head and another regrows. It is not that simple. If it were, I would have done it already. I can't say that I wish to stay taking down death stick dealers, but I will tell you this. As I escalate, so will they, and they will eventually send force. And if I am effective enough, their business down here will cease. It will no longer be profitable. And then is the time to strike. You can help with that. You can make these people's lives better. And he cuts off as he starts hearing this clank, 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 as the Gamorrean is now basically like on his way over there. So, and he kind of turns.
Like if they haven't talked him down by the time I get in range,
Yep.
I'm charging and trying to punch him. I mean, like,
all right.
like that's basically where the Gamorrean's at. Like,
wow. All right. That's awesome. Hold on just a sec. Because I think he's got some fun abilities here.
So as we're speaking, and I see that once I see it's to the point where things are about to kick off, then I would be moving my, as fast as possible to close.
Okay. Absolutely. So yeah, Josh, go ahead and you can make an attack. He wields. He kind of wheels around to face you.
okay.
Now
Does he have adversary?
Yes,
or
he's
anything like
adversary too. So.
that? Okay. So 2 red.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and spend a destiny point to
okay.
upgrade it. So go ahead and add another purple in there.
So then, all right.
Oh,
So that's 12 damage. And with the triumph, I will trigger the concussive. So he will be staggered for 2 rounds.
Okay.
And then you get to tell me what happens with that despair.
Absolutely. All right, let me just see for a minute here.
And with the advantage, I'll pass a boost to the next ally because I don't have any other use for a single. So.
Yep. All right. So he's going to, as you kind of come in with your blade or with your gauntlet, right? And you go to punch him, and he, with his lightsaber, basically parries your blow at least a little bit, deflects it partially. And so you said you had dealt him 7 damage or
12.
12 damage?
Yeah, 12. It's base 7 and 5 successes. So
okay. All right. And so you barely graze him as he kind of spins around and whacks you. And what I'm going to say is that as you are doing that, he basically throws you like almost in like a judo move right? And he comes around and kind of knocks you off balance, and you are basically going to topple right over the catwalk. So I need you to make an athletics check for me to see if you can not fall.
Would it be coordination?
Or coordination, either way.
Okay. Ironically, the Gamorrean is better at coordination than he is athletics.
Nice.
Because it's a career skill for me.
Yeah.
What difficulty am I looking at?
You are going to look at a difficulty of 2.
Okay. And actually, then I'll use the advantage to give myself a boost die on this rather than...
okay.
Since I'm the next ally who's making an action.
Right.
So, and since I really don't want to fall off the catwalk, I will. That seems like it would not be fun. Failure and 3 advantage.
Okay. So you fall off the catwalk, but do you have any idea for how you want to use that 3 advantage?
Well, 3 advantages, like if it was on a combat check, you could knock someone prone. So can I say that whenever he does that, between the the shock blast that happens, my gauntlet gets caught up in his robes and I pull him with me with 3 advantages. So we both fall off.
I don't know if 3 advantages. I mean, that's like triumph level right there. I would say that.
Well,
with
a lot of the uses of three
actually,
advantages is a triumph use, like because you can knock them prone with 3 advantages or with the triumph.
I also do have that triumph in my pocket.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want to apply that, then absolutely, I would say you can pull them with you. So in that case, what we could do, if you want to use the triumph, that'll let you pull them over with you, and then you can use maybe the 3 advantage so that you land on top.
Awesome. I'm perfectly fine with that idea.
All right, nice. Now, I'm going to say in this case, you take a couple. You're going to take 3 strain from the fall, because just because of all of that.
Is it a short range fall, basically? Like
it wasn't too much. I'm not going to apply any damage in this case because you landed on top of the guy.
I'm fine with whichever. Because the damage for a short range is normally 10 wounds and strain. Yeah. But soak applies, so I soaked 7 of it, so it's only 3 wounds and 3 strain. And then if I'm landing on him, that'd probably count as like boost dice on the athletics check or coordination check to see if I mitigate the damage.
Like I said, I'm not going to apply any damage in this case. There's just gonna be a little bit of strain suffered, for all of that.
3 strain.
All right. And he's kind of laying there now with you on top of him, just kind of like stunned.
I think that's initiative then.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, goodness.
Ooh, big 2 advantages for my initiative.
What are we rolling?
You can roll. You were moving in, so if you want to roll cool.
Okay.
Yeah, or I mean, you can roll either, but.
Hey, it's one thing I've been good at rolling tonight.
There you go.
Initiative.
As long as someone's rolling good initiative, then it helps the group a lot.
Yep.
Makes a big difference.
All right. You guys all act first. So how would you like to proceed in this case?
I'd say since I'm on the ground, y'all can go first since I provoked the initiative already. Unless you want me to go for you. I don't care.
No, so there's this catwalk still above them.
Yeah, he's actually fallen. He's probably fallen fairly close to you because as far as I know, you were just kind of standing there still on the bottom level. I imagine that, Neo was going up the other side of the catwalk and, obviously Brush had gone up the other side. So he's basically like on the ground level now. with the Gamorrean on top of him, and you're kind of like not too far within short distance of him.
Okay. I'm gonna use my movement to get under some kind of cover, some boxes or something that are nearby, and shoot him with my carbine.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't hit Brash.
Yeah. So, all right. So it's going to be difficulty of 2, but it's upgraded, right? Because he's got adversary, so you're gonna have to have 2 reds. And I'm going to impose a setback as well because you've got a big Gamorrean on him. So I'm assuming you don't want to shoot him.
I am giving him reflective 1. Okay. Or deflective.
So yeah, 11 damage.
All right. And let's see. All right. Yep. And you see, actually, even though he is still, he's got this guy underneath him, he still has his lightsaber. And as you're firing at him, you see him almost with this just unbelievable speed, kind of like, kind of as much as he can try to move his lightsaber. And he's parried, or not parried, but what's the actual? Reflect, yeah. The bolts back away. You can tell that he's definitely drawing on the Force, though.
Well, yeah, because Reflect is a Force talent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
But
I chose to be cinematic as opposed to mechanical about it, but yes. But yeah, so you guys have both gone. What's Neo gonna do?
Okay, so he's still on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
but he's on top now? Or is
No,
he
he's
still
not on
underneath?
top. He's still kind of sort of half pinned underneath the Gamorrean.
So, yeah, then I'm going to, you said we were like short range, so I can move to engage him.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and I also want to switch the commitment from the defense to the offense.
Okay.
And I'm going to is there, I don't know, do I have to just rely on Sunder, or is there a way that I can purposely target and try to take out his weapon, or do I just have to rely on Sunder?
Rely on Sunder.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just take a whack at
Or
him.
wait, no, there's the cult shot, isn't there?
Well, do you have the what is it? The move power?
Nah.
No. Okay. Can't
There's
try to pull his lightsaber out of his hand.
Yeah, my other character had a concept where I was going to go with move, and that would have worked nice. But yeah, so I'm just going to try to take advantage of his pin state. I can't imagine it's very comfortable having a Gamorrean sit on you.
So, yeah, I mean, are you going to try to attack him, or are you going to just come up and like put your lightsaber, at his throat or whatever? And I mean, you might try to cut your ankles off, but
Yeah, I mean, at this point, knowing how dangerous, man, that's a good question now. What would I do? I mean, my thoughts were, ours that, he's too far gone, and I gave him a chance, and he doesn't seem like he's, so I'm just going to try to put him down quick.
alrighty. So yeah, so if you're going to attack him, same thing. He's got adversary 2, and also the setback because you don't want to hit the Gamorrean.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that'd be kind of dangerous, but I'm gonna go ahead and use that light side point.
Oh yeah.
I really want to take him out if I can. Okay, so here we go. Big money, no whammy. Oh crap. Oh, okay, but what I can do with that is
Give him setbacks, or
yeah,
disarm.
basically I can use the feint. So he'll get 2 upgrades to the difficulty of his next attack. Like if he attacks me,
Okay.
he'll have 2 upgrades for my feint.
Okay.
you
Specifically.
could disarm him with 3.
Yeah, but don't you have to? Do you have to successfully hit him to disarm him?
Not that I don't remember that one being. You have to successfully hit to do crit and sunder and concussive, but I don't think you have to for disarm necessarily.
Well, I'm fine with that if you want to do that. I mean, honestly, if you want to use your your obscene amount of advantage here to, knock the lightsaber out of his hand or whatever.
Then yeah, that would because if I could do that, because if I my whole concern though is if I just like try putting my saber to his throat and say stop, and if he doesn't stop, he could potentially kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have that moment of where I can, rather than hit him, if I can knock the lightsaber from his hand, then I would. Well, actually, shoot, didn't I observe him basically just calling it to his hand before?
Yep.
Yeah, so how much of a hindrance would that really be when he just? But of course, that would be an action, right, for him to recall it to his hand if he does so.
Depends on what he's using to recall it, and what level. Like if it's because there's a way to do it without being force sensitive, even a magnetic weapon tether. Which, if you have that, it's incidental, and then with the force, depending on what upgrades you have to move, you can do it as an incidental, or it's an action or a maneuver.
Yeah. So
so there's too many variants there.
Yeah, I would just see it as too dangerous. So yeah, I would use it then as if he attacks me, that with my feint, it'll basically put him upgrade to 2 difficulty.
Absolutely. So as you do that,
my turn.
No, because he gets to go now. Because I think.
Well, it was 3.
Right.
You said it was 3 of us first.
You're right. You haven't gone yet. I forgot you delayed. Yes, you can go.
I'm going to kind of partially sit up, like from where I'm on him. Yeah. And I'm just going to just rear back MMA style and try to punch him again. See no reason not to.
Alrighty.
So yeah, if I knew you had to go first, then I should have disarmed him.
That's fine if you want to sort of
Yeah, because if I would have known that he hasn't gone yet, that would give him an advantage to. Then there's still a chance of subduing him. I mean, if I can do that with a chance of not someone immediately dying, then yeah. So yeah, I'll knock it away. Yep.
All right. Yeah.
In hopes that Gamorrean can slow him down enough for the rest of us to slow him down even more.
Seeing the lightsaber come free and the fact that I'm on top of him, then that changes my action, because what I'm going to do.
Well. I don't know. Did you knock the lightsaber out of his hand?
I thought that's what you said. Just disarm him.
No, he said he was going to, but then he thought that may not be much of an actual threat. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure he still has the lightsaber.
Are you going to or not? It's up to you.
Well, yeah, if I can retroactively do it, then yeah, I would, because if I would have known that the Gamorrean still has a chance of doing him, then I would do so if you allow it. If not.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
So that's 3 of them, and the other 2 you still do 1 level of feint, or what?
How much do I need? Yeah, I just need 3. So
for feint.
Oh yeah, so I wouldn't be able to then, because you need 3 for the disarm, right?
Yeah, 3 for disarm. So
yeah.
So left.
Yeah.
So that's either recover 2 strain, give your next ally 2 boost, give a specific ally 1 boost, give the opponent a setback, give yourself a free maneuver,
I'll just give the next person two
Okay.
boosts. Yeah.
All right, then I am going to use my maneuver to pick up the. Or I'm going to basically drop my shield, and then I'm going to use my maneuver to pick up the lightsaber. So
Okay.
I've got it in my offhand, and then I'm going to MMA punch this guy, like while I'm on top of him still.
Okay.
And I was trying to look up what prone does.
I'm gonna just rule it that you
Combat.
get an additional setback. I mean, sorry, an additional boost. So if
Well,
you get
if
a
I remember
boost
right,
from
prone
him,
gives bonuses and disadvantages to different things, and but I'm not finding it. So
yeah, just go ahead and add an extra boost in there.
oh yeah, and that's what it is. I just found it. It adds setback to all ranged attacks made against you, but gives a boost die to all melee attacks against you. Melee and brawl. So an extra boost. We are out of force dice or force destiny points, so I can't do that. All right, so here we go. So that's 11 damage, and a crit, and then pass a boost die to the next ally, and then whatever happens with the despair.
Okay. So.
And the crit is an 80.
All right. So. Overpowered. Target leaves himself open, and the attacker may immediately attempt another free attack against him using the exact same pool as the original attack.
That's brutal for him. All right, so it was 11 damage, and now it's 10 damage and another crit, and another boost die pass to the next ally.
Okay, so you said, what, 21 total damage?
So it'd be... Actually, hang on. It's 7 plus 4. So 11 and 9. I'm sorry. 11 and 9.
Okay, so 20. All right, yep. So that's fine. And then another crit as well. All right.
59.
That one.
Or actually, no, 69. I'm sorry. I got Vicious 1 from being Gamorrean. Forgot about that. So actually, the other one should have been 90, but whatever. Whatever you want to do there.
No, I like the overpowered better. Okay. Cool.
So 69.
His head's ringing. Yeah. You effectively have him subdued at this point. He does not have his lightsaber. He's got that. However,
he's staggered and taking a bunch of damage.
Yeah. However, almost as if he's like, I mean, and the Force users would sense he is like drawing just as much dark side energy as he can. And you can see him kind of almost shakily reach his hand up into the air, and he almost makes a pulling motion, and you hear this, and the metal catwalk is actually starting to come down and is going to fall on you. So you guys can all try to get the fuck out of the way.
Question: did he break the staggered, or is this just cinematic? Like he's starting to do this, even
he's using that despair as a ability to draw on the Force, and also cinematically, yes.
Okay.
So if you guys want to, athletics or coordination, just to leap out of the way, or something else, that's fine as well.
Against what?
2 difficulty. It won't be that hard.
Yeah, I'm out of there with coordination.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, instead of trying to run, can I bring my lightsaber to bear so when it comes down, I can basically try to, whatever debris is coming at me, basically kind of use my parry to try to cut out of the way, or is this going to be like a huge, like the roof's falling down?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, so it's a huge catwalk, right? Like it's a big industrial size, chunk of metal that's basically falling down at this point. So, I mean, you could potentially try to like slash out of the way and, and maybe, I don't know, somehow use the force or whatever to kind of push it. But, you're probably better off just trying to leap out of the way. Either way, though, you can try it.
Yeah, I just don't know how successful I am going to be trying to get out of the way, but we'll see.
Okay.
Said 2 purple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one advantage.
Okay. So your 2 companions managed to leap out of the way.
I'm not jumping out of the way. I'm reaching over with my gauntleted hand, grabbing my shield, and putting it on my back, turtle style, and just like hunkering, staying on this guy, and I'm just gonna like keep pummeling him into submission and hoping the shield does its job.
Okay. The catwalk crashes down. Jin is out of the way unscathed. You guys are pinned now underneath this huge chunk of metal. Brush, you managed to survive. You're okay, in a sense, but you're definitely like, kind of half crushed under your shield and under your, and under the catwalk. And you feel as this kind of crushes down on you, your weight crushes into the guy, the ghost, right? And you can feel his bones breaking, and you can physically feel the last of his breath going out of him. But you can also hear a cry of pain from Neo as he's trapped under this thing. You can see just the top half of his torso kind of out. The bottom half is completely trapped under that. And I'm actually going to cut the scene right there. So we're going to leave it just as it is.
Okay.
So this was fun. I have to go, so I had to cut it a little bit shorter, but this was a lot of fun. My first time kind of trying to use the force in this system. So that was excellent. You guys, I think, created a really fun cinematic game. So that is awesome. I wanted to thank you guys for playing and thank anyone for watching. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys say whatever you want to say, and then I'm going to stop the broadcast.
I'd just like to say thank you, Sam, for running this. It's always fun playing Star Wars FFG, especially. Had a good time. You're excellent, GM.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it as well. Hope some of the viewers start hanging out on Tides of Change for other games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had lots of fun. Thanks to Sam and my fellow players, and perhaps someday we can revisit these characters and see what fate befalls them.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I would love it.
Cool. All right. Well, that is the end. We are signing off.